December 1972. Apollo 17 left the moon. And for more than 50 years, no human has traveled farther than Earth's orbit. For half a century, we've looked up at the moon and asked, when will we return? Now, that silence is about to break. Artemis II will send astronauts farther than anyone has gone in over 50 years, to the edge of the moon and back. But here's the question, why now? What makes this moment different from every decade before? And how can one mission change our entire future in space? For decades, the International Space Station has been humanity's home in orbit, but it's nearing retirement. If Earth loses its only space habitat, we risk sliding backward. Meanwhile, China is building its own lunar program, aiming to land astronauts before 2030. NASA knows this is a new space race, not just for prestige, but for technology, resources, and survival. And then there's the sun. We're entering the most active solar cycle in decades, where flares and storms could wreak havoc on space systems. Testing spacecraft and astronaut safety now is no longer optional, it's urgent. So Artemis isn't just about nostalgia for Apollo, it's about necessity. Humanity needs a new foothold beyond Earth, and Artemis II is the first step. But how exactly will NASA test this? What does Artemis II need to prove before humanity dares to stay on the moon? Artemis II is not a landing mission. Its objective is far more critical: trust. To prove that Orion, NASA's new deep space ship, can protect astronauts where no spacecraft has in half a century. Over 10 days, Orion will demonstrate its life support systems in real conditions, not simulations. Every breath, every drop of recycled water, every command from its computers must be flawless. Because if Artemis II stumbles, the Moon and Mars must wait. And who are the 4 astronauts willing to risk everything to test it? Meet the crew of Artemis II, Commander Reed Wiseman, a Navy test pilot now commanding humanity's boldest flight in 50 years. Victor Glover, who lived 168 days aboard the ISS, but now faces something no astronaut alive has done. Christina Koch, who spent nearly a year in space, longer than any woman in history. And Jeremy Hansen of Canada, the first non-American ever to travel beyond Earth's orbit. Each of them has trained for years, but Artemis will test them in ways no simulator can prepare for. Imagine being the first humans to fly thousands of miles beyond the moon. First, SLS will push Orion into a giant Earth orbit, climbing to over 1,400 miles high. Here, NASA will check every system under stress, but this is just the beginning. 2 powerful engine burns will hurl Orion onto a free return trajectory, a slingshot around the moon. At their closest, they'll come within 5,500 miles of the lunar surface, farther than any human spacecraft in history. They won't land. Instead, Orion will loop around the far side of the moon, the place Apollo astronauts called the loneliest moment, cut off from Earth, guided only by its own systems. And this is where Artemis II must prove it can keep its crew alive in deep space. Deep space is not like low Earth orbit. Radiation is harsher, distances are greater, and help is days away. Orion's life support system must recycle oxygen, scrub carbon dioxide, and even recover moisture from the air. The crew will deliberately stress these systems, exercising, sleeping, and working, to prove that Orion can handle real life, not just lab tests. They'll even manually pilot Orion close to its discarded upper stage, practicing rendezvous maneuvers they'll need when docking with future lunar landers. One failure could force NASA back to square one, but success, it will unlock the moon itself. Right now, Artemis II hardware is being stacked and integrated at Kennedy. The mission is targeting no earlier than February to April 2026. If successful, it clears the path for Artemis III, the first crewed lunar landing of the 21st century, where the first woman and the first person of color will walk on the moon. Apollo was a sprint. Artemis is a marathon, building a sustainable base at the moon, testing technologies that will one day carry us to Mars. So why now? Because humanity has waited long enough. Because the ISS is aging, rivals are rising, and the moon is our training ground for the stars. Artemis II isn't just a return, it's a rehearsal for forever. When this mission launches, it won't just carry 4 astronauts, it will carry the weight of 50 years of dreams and the hope that this time, we stay. But one question remains. Orion can only take astronauts to lunar orbit. So how will humans actually land on the moon again? Which lander will NASA choose? Blue Origin, Dynetics, or SpaceX's Starship? That story is waiting in the next episode. Subscribe to follow humanity's return to the moon and beyond to Mars.